I guess that's the only bad part about starting it and then posting the link is when they watch it later, they'll hear what we're talking right now, and we haven't started yet. But who cares? It doesn't say we're live yet.
It doesn't say we're live yet?
No.
That's weird. My channel. No, it says we're live though.
No, you post the link then.
Oh.
There it goes. Okay.
Oh, did you get the link now?
Yeah. Just was showing up late. Alright, whenever you're ready.
I'm gonna start my own music, guys. I'm gonna start my own music. Hey, no, beatbox. But no, all seriousness, what's up? Live squad. Back here again with another ComboLG podcast. I'm your host, and everyone else is our other host,
Hold up, what's up guys? Before we go any farther, I'm gonna turn my game volume off. I forgot to do that.
Always.
So let me just go do that real quick. Team settings, volume control, master volume, 0. Alright, so before we get into this, I do want to say, those of you that are live and following along, I'm glad you're on here live with us. But just remember, if you want to get in on the conversations, just comment. I do get alerts on my screen if you comment, so I'll say something. Yep, and we will look at the live comments and we will talk about it too.
Oh, Lord. Alright. But if y'all just noticed, I called y'all Live Squad because that's what y'all are now going to be referred as, is Live Squad. Hashtag Live Squad, go follow us on Twitter. Hit us up with a hashtag Live Squad.
Alright, so going on to the schedule now. You could see obviously we haven't advanced yet because there aren't scores for some of these games. There is still a game being played, and we decided to start the podcast a little early because every game is finished except for that one, and by the time we're done talking about the review, they will be done, and so I'll be able to advance midway through the video, and then we'll talk about the awards and stuff after I advance too.
First game, guys, is returning player from last season who just came in. Second game, Blackheart Suave, killing it again.
Yeah, 2 games in the league, 2 high-scoring blowout games.
Look at the box score. We don't even look at the yards. Look at the box score.
That telling with a score like that and only seeing 469 yards, you know, that's got to tell me he's really good on defense. So he can stop you for no yards, so that way he gets the ball back in good field position.
He didn't even have the ball most of the time either.
No, and 6 turnovers for the Panthers. You see that right off the bat. Panthers actually won time of possession, like Avenger said.
Player stats quotes beginning passing. Aaron Rodgers, a decent game, not the greatest.
3
yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked twice. Cam Newton, 409 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, sacked 9 times.
Yeah, and seeing numbers like that from Cam Newton just say that, like, you know that they were playing from behind most of the game, so he was throwing it a lot to try and get back into it. Yeah. And quarter lengths like this, 42 is a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. That is something you don't really see from, like, the Packers. 13 attempts for 246 yards for Ty Montgomery. 2 rushing touchdowns. And no one else really ran.
Yeah, 18.9 average. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, though. Oof, nothing there.
Yeah, that is really but only 2 attempts. That's really surprising. because even in the beginning of the game, when it was like all squared up, that to see him only get 2 attempts is something else.
In the receiving, lead receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, 8 receptions, 156 yards, 19.5 out of 2 touchdowns. And even Greg Olsen, 7 receptions, 149 yards, 21.3 average in a touchdown. Randall Cobb with 81 yards in a touchdown. And Jordan Nelson, 53 yards in a touchdown. Ty Montgomery, only 13 yards in a touchdown.
Yep. Much there, and then defense. Wow, yeah, all those sacks on Cam Newton. 4 of them from Mike Daniels, 2 by Nick Perry, 1 by Jake Ryan, 1 from Kenny Clark, and Clay Matthews and Montravius Adams, the rookie, shared a sack as well.
Captain one of them is Shaq Thompson, the only ones getting any sacks on Aaron Rodgers, which is surprising to see, especially with the Green Bay O-line.
Yeah, it's really surprising.
Interception, we have 2 by HaHa Dix, 2 by Devon Harrison, 1 by Kirk Coleman, 1 by Mike Daniels. HaHa and Devon House might have defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But
Force Humbles though, 1 for Mike Daniels, 1 for Nick Perry, 1 for Dylan Cole, rookie out of Missouri State.
And once again, it shows no fumble recoveries, but 3 fumble return yards by Clay Matthews. So obviously he recovered 1 of those. And yeah, you said it. Both of them had a return for a touchdown, and 2 by Devon House.
Which is really surprising. Especially with only an interception over 51. I thought HaHa Dix might have had 2 pick sixes. Great job to Green Bay. Good luck to him next season to hopefully maybe make the playoffs.
And before we end on this game, there was a kick return touchdown by the Panthers. Dree Archer with that.
Ooh. Which is surprising, not him not getting many at all, any rushing attempts, especially with that speed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was surprised to see Dree Archer on the Panthers because he was actually on the Lions, and the new Lions guy must have cut him. But it was a 97 return, a 97-yard return for a touchdown. But, all right.
Good return.
So moving on. Yeah. So next game was our game of the week actually, and you could see by the score that it was not the game we thought it would be.
I predicted right with the Ravens.
Yeah, you did.
I predicted right with the Ravens that he was out for blood and he was coming out with a win.
But okay, let's go take a look in the stats. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I not say that whoever ran the ball better would win this game?
Oh yes, you did. You said whoever ran the ball better. But
and you could see
that Hungley's passing game was going to get him in trouble.
Yeah, it did a little bit, but as you can see, 221 rush yards for the Ravens and 22 for the Browns. So
that is unheard of. We usually have at least 100.
Yeah, at least.
3 turnovers for the Browns, 0 for the Ravens.
Oh, and
Hungley didn't make it. 0% in red zone for Hungley. 0% in red zone.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in the red zone.
Yeah. We go into this. Joe Flacco, I think one of the best games you'll ever see him have. 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, sacked twice. Deshaun Kaiser, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked 4 times. That's just...
Yeah. And now we can, well, going into the rushing, we do see that he didn't have really the attempts you'd think he'd have. Only 8 attempts for Crowell and 1 attempt for Kaiser, and that was it for the Browns rushing. But good job to Terrence West with a 9.4 average, 17 attempts for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Ken Dixon should get on that. Yeah, he might not have had the attempts still had a 9 average. Danny Wood had he had a touchdown, so it looks like he was the power back that the Ravens used.
Yeah, you could tell because his average was 2.6, which normally wouldn't be that good. But if he is playing the power back role, that could be good if it's all short yarded situations and he's got to pound it.
Receiving game, main receiver was Shelton Gibson, rookie out of West Virginia, 5 receptions, 93 yards, 18.6 average touchdown. Isaiah Crowell got more into the passing game than in the 6 receptions.
Yeah, and this is, I think, was it Ungwe's game last week too, where he had a big game with the running back catching balls out of the backfield?
Yes.
So yeah, that's
a lot of people this year seem to be doing that. Always trying to use their, even if the running back's not a receiving type, always trying to get involved in receiving.
Yeah, and that's true, but it's a good strategy because if you think about it, let's say you're playing a cover 3, so unless you have someone in a purple or in a cloud flat and a hard flat, if there's 3 receivers to one side and they're all doing like routes on the right side of the field, it's going to be tough to stop them all. So it's not a bad strategy.
Defensively, what do we got for defense?
See, we got Terrell Suggs getting in there with 2 sacks for the Ravens, and 2 for Michael Pierce, and then 1 for Ogba and 1 for Garrett from the Browns.
One of Garrett's worst games in sacks.
Yeah, really.
Interceptions, we have 1 by Tyus Bowser, rookie out of Houston, 1 by Gene Smith, and 1 by Tavon Young.
Let's see if there were any forced fumbles. No, none there. And then 1 touchdown for Tyus Bowser, the rookie out of Houston.
Let's see, kick returning, return. Good job to the Ravens.
And before we leave this game too, I think last week in the podcast we talked about if we would see a game with 0 turnovers, and well, there you have it right there. 0 turnovers yeah, and it's a little surprising that it came from this game because I don't know if you watched part of it or any of it, but it was snowing that game. So precipitation and not fumbling the ball, even fumbling the ball at all, or throwing an interception, that's pretty good.
I think he played very conservative in this game. I think he played really conservative to make sure he got the least amount of turnovers. So
yeah, and I can agree with you there because going back to Joe Flacco, he only attempted it 10 times. So most of his offense came from the run game, and he switched the running backs out pretty well, which is probably why he didn't have a fumble in that precipitation. So good job to the Ravens in that one. Alright, so moving down to the next one, you see, look at this score, you see Jets at Saints, and it's 47-0 Jets, and only 172 yards of offense. And 90 yards for the Saints. That is crazy to hold someone under 100 yards total.
8 turnovers by the Saints. 8. I can barely hear you. Sorry, man. It's late. It is very late.
Well, thanks for letting us know about that, though. But yeah, 45 rush yards and 45 pass yards for the Saints. That's crazy. Because even if you're not having your best game, like, it still is really hard not to get 100 yards in a game.
No, and it's funny because it's both 45.
Yeah.
It's just perfectly 45 for both sides. Who had the ball for more time? Actually, the Saints had it for like 3 more minutes than the Jets did.
Yeah, that's really weird. 8
Player stats,
turnovers though.
Blake Bortles, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 4 times. Drew Brees, 120 yards, 7 interceptions, sacked 10 times.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Oh, and look, there's another 40. There's, oh my God, game of 45s. 45 is the longest pass, and 45 is the completion percentage. So, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Now this is sad right here. This is
Blake Bortles is the leading rusher for the Jets. Wow, 18 attempts for 24 yards for Corey Grant. Wow, and same average, 16 attempts for 20 yards for Alvin Kamara, the rookie out of Tennessee. That's
Brees
just
got in there. Drew
that
Brees
is
slowly.
yeah. That is crazy. I mean, in a way, I can see the Jets defense stopping the run like that because the Jets defense is a little underrated. But
Yes.
the Saints defense, oh my, who do they have at the front seven that can stop the run like that? I want to know.
Cameron Jordan.
Well, but one player.
Oh, but as we can see, he used Mark Ingram one time.
Yeah, that's and the one time was for 10 yards too.
In the receiving game, leading receiver is, of course, Marquise. Oh, actually, it's Marquise to me this time. Do we need to go to injuries? Because I don't see her favorite receiver on here.
I don't either.
Did he get hurt?
Did he
Bobby
even get
Anderson didn't get any receptions. Was he hurt? Did he get hurt?
He must be.
We gotta go check that out.
Yeah.
Marquise Lee, though, 4 receptions, 98 yards, 24.5 average for a touchdown. Michael Thomas, leading receiver for New Orleans, 1 reception, 45, and Quincy Moon, 32 yards and a touchdown.
I wish you could see, for receivers, I wish you could see stats on how many times they were thrown to.
I wish you could see that, plus how many times they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Because some of these wide open passes, they just drop, it's like, how did they drop this?
Yeah, that's true. But like seeing 1 reception from Michael Thomas, the leading receiver for the Saints, that's a little surprising. But I know Madden works differently than real life, but like you always got your guy you want to go to, and like I would just think that Michael Thomas would be that guy for the Saints.
Oh, maybe this is go to defense. Maybe this will show you why the Saints stopped that run game.
Wow, 3 sacks for Darren Lee. And Darren Lee's not even a pass rushing linebacker, really.
That's coverage.
Yeah. 2.5 sacks for Ray Maluga. 2.5 for Leonard Williams. And then 1 for Mario Williams. And then Demario Davis and Muhammad Wilkerson split a sack for the Jets.
But then look at the New Orleans. 2 by Cameron Jordan. 1 by Trey Hendrickson, the rookie out of FAU. And then Akeem Ayers. Maybe that's why. Because Akeem Ayers, I would say, is sort of a pass rusher.
Yeah.
And maybe Trey Hendrickson has a good pass rushing.
Oh, go to tackles for loss and hit sword on that one and see the top 4 people in tackles for loss. Tackles for loss. Yeah. That's why. Alright, so moving over to interceptions. 2 for Morris Claiborne, and it looks like he might have got a touchdown out of one of those. 1 for Akeem Ayers, 1 for Jarius Burden, 24, that might be a touchdown. 1 for Barry Church, 1 for Darren Lee, 1 for Marcus Williams, and 1 for Buster Skrin, however you say his name.
Scrine.
But the list goes on and on. 8 interceptions?
7. Forced fumbles, Marcus Williams and Cameron Jordan.
Sorry, I had a little something to take care of. Alright.
Marcus Williams and Cameron Jordan for forced fumbles. Block kick,
Yeah. Oh, and then no kick returns, no punt returns. But yeah, what a if the score wasn't that high, like if the Jets didn't have so many interceptions, I would have said that was definitely a defensive battle. All right. Moving on to the next one, a division matchup between DeFucha and JR Philly, the Giants versus the Eagles. Giants still has a chance at playoffs, so that was a must-win for him. He got the job done on that one, but as you could see going in, Eagles led the total yards, but the 5 turnovers probably did it for him.
Oh, look at that though. Philly led the first quarter.
Yeah, 17-7. Wow, so he must have made a lot of mistakes in that second quarter to let him score 24 points.
Thank you.
Alright. Going into passing. 206 yards for Eli Manning, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's something you like to see and don't see too often with Eli Manning throwing no interceptions. Carson Wentz, 203 yards, a touchdown, 4 interceptions. That's sacked 4 times. Let's see, 29 attempts, only completing 12 of them. Yeah, it's tough to pass like that with the coverages updated the way they are since that update. They're so much more aggressive. So if you are balanced on offense and you can play running or you can play passing, I mean, I don't want to run the game for you, but I would say run the ball.
If you look at the bottom, Bryce Petty.
Yeah, came in and got sacked and then left. What probably happened was that J.R. Philly was like, you know what, screw Wentz, I'm gonna bench him, and then brings in Petty, gets sacked on the first play. He's like, all right, moving on to rushing. Wow.
Had a decent game.
Wow. 22 attempts for 37 yards for Perkins. And you know, okay, so maybe I take it back. If you can run the ball, you gotta do it. But you would think running the ball 22 times, he would have gotten something going there. But only 1.7 yards per carry. That's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah. He also fumbled.
Yeah.
He broke 3 tackles, but he still fumbled. Wayne Gallman, rookie out of Clemson, 1 attempt, got 6 yards, and never saw the game again.
Nope. And what's funny is his longest run is 12, so take 12 off of that, 25, so 21 attempts for 25 yards. Jeez.
In the receiving game, though, he did.
That's
okay.
That's not going to be a surprise. I'm telling you now, Evan Ingram is going to be a good receiver for the Giants.
If they use him.
Yeah, if they use him, that's true.
If they actually took him out of the backup position, he would be so much, like, he could do so much for them. But they always put him in when he's not needed. I think he's a better receiver than he is a blocker, though.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's a better receiver than blocker, but they always use him for blocking. But the funniest thing is 381 yards, three people with 81 yards. Evan Ingram, rookie out of Ole Miss, 5 receptions, 81 yards, 16.2 average, 1 touchdown. Odell, 3 receptions, 81 yards, 27 average, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams, rookie out of Clemson, 2 receptions, 81 yards, 40.5 average, and 1 touchdown.
Mike Williams getting traded from the Chargers. That turns it. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out for both teams in that, because I know the Chargers got Derek Barnett, I think, and then the Eagles got Mike Williams, both rookies. So
didn't the Eagles trade 2 rookies though?
I can't remember. I think it was Williams for Barnett, and then there was something else involved. But if it was another rookie, it wasn't like that good of a rookie, or at least not a high rating. But that doesn't mean he's not going to do good.
Defensively, sacks, you had 2 for Olivier Vernon, 1 by Jatavis Brown, 1 by Vinny Curry, 1 by Nick Vigil, 1 by Quan Williams, and 1 by JPP.
Yep, and then 4 interceptions all by the Giants. Nick Vigil, Eli Apple, Andrew Adams, and Landon Collins. And the one by Nick Vigil might be a touchdown.
And even Eli Apple.
Yeah, that could be too.
Forced fumbles, 3 Olivier Vernon, Vinny Curry, and Brandon Brown. Didn't see much of him.
Hey, look at fumble recoveries.
Fumble recovery.
Yeah, we got one finally.
And defensive touchdowns, only Eli Apple had one.
That's probably the pick. Yeah, it's probably off the interception, but it's possible that it was off the fumble recovery. If he fumbled at the one and then just picked it up in the end zone, or.
Well, congratulations to the Giants. Hopefully, you make playoffs. Anything for kick return?
No, I didn't see anything there. Ooh.
But
Dewan and Lemur, Redskins versus Cardinals. This was a close game.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Locke scored. Lemur won on passing, and he barely even lost on the rushing side of the ball. It's the turn. It's always the turnovers in this game. It's always turnovers.
Yeah, definitely.
Player stats. We go passing, 109 yards, a touchdown, 30 sacks for Carson Palmer. Kirk Cousins, 201 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, a sack twice. No one else got in the game, which is why usually Arizona brings in all their quarterbacks.
And a decent game on the ground for David Johnson, 19 attempts for 91 yards with a 4.8 average. So I would take that 4.8 average every time.
Robert Turbin, 12 attempts, 41 yards and a touchdown, 3.4 average. It's less than David Johnson, but he did get a touchdown at least.
Yeah. And then Kirk Cousins getting probably broken coverages or broken plays a few times, scrambling for that. And Bruce Miller, the fullback from the Cardinals, with 2 attempts, a yard and a touchdown, so he's getting the ball in those short yardage situations.
Carson Palmer fumbling.
Alright, wow. So receiving, there was one big game. It was from Josh Doxson, 5 receptions, 129 yards and a touchdown. And then everyone else just kind of having below average games. Well, Larry Fitzgerald did have his touchdown, 3 attempts, 20 yards and a touchdown. Let's see, no other touchdowns from the receiving game. Alright, defense. I'm looking at sacks. 1 for Fabian Moreau, 1 from Ryan Kerrigan, and 1 from Trent Murphy from the Redskins. Then 1 for Corey Peters, 1 for Carlos Dansby from the Cardinals. Let's check out interceptions. 1 for the rookie Buda Baker, and then Honey Badger getting another interception. He's almost averaging 1 reception per game, I think. He's up there, I think, in the top 3 for interceptions on the season too. But both interceptions were for 4 yards, so I don't think there were touchdowns on those. Well, let's see if there were fumbles. Yeah, there were 1 forced fumble, and it looks like there was no recovery by the defense on that one. No defensive touchdowns. I think this might be our first game this week without a defensive touchdown so far.
Oh yeah.
And nothing in the return games for touchdowns either way. So this was a pretty, I don't want to say below average game stat-wise, but this was probably more along the lines of a defensive battle. As you can see, Arizona didn't score the second half, and Washington didn't score the first half.
Oh yeah. And it's surprising. Sorry guys, I had to talk. But it's surprising that I think Tyrann Matthews actually. I don't think either of them are top 3 in interceptions, but I know this interception got Tyrann Matthews to 10 on the season.
Yeah.
He was a great guy. And it's surprising to see Larry Fitzgerald not getting in the game that much.
Yeah, and we just got word from the Redskins owner who said he had a chance to tie the game with a field goal with about 20 seconds left, and he missed the field goal wide left. So that's disappointing, but yeah, the kick meters are really inconsistent because you can go in a game without lagging and your kick meter will be at one speed, and you'll play another game and you still won't be lagging, but your kick meter will be at a completely different speed.
Yes.
It's just so inconsistent. Well, that would have been cool to see if he was to make that kick. That would have been cool to have a game go to overtime.
I think this would be our first overtime game this season.
Yeah, it's very rare for. Yeah, it's rare for Madden games to go to overtime like this.
But we do have another game, Peyton Benji and Wk.16. It looks worse than I think it possibly was. Oh no, it's just as bad as it was. Oops.
So, it looks like everything was going the Rams' way in this one. Leading in every yard category, but turnovers 5 by the Seahawks and 3 by the Rams.
And he owned time of possession too, by 3 minutes.
Yeah. And I just want to come down here and the red zone offense, nothing there for Seattle, and I don't want to be, yeah, but yeah, there were a lot of, from watching this game, there were a lot of times where they threw the ball at goal line situations when they could have ran the ball, but.
Ooh, I don't think I've seen this bad of a game for Russell Wilson.
83 yards and 4 interceptions, a 22 passer rating.
Okay,
but
I know the Rams D line's good, so sacked 4 times.
And the Seahawks offensive line is terrible.
But the Rams O line is just as bad.
Yeah,
their defensive line is that bad.
The one thing about the Rams though, they went out there and signed a good left tackle with Andrew Whitworth. So they got someone protecting Jared Goff's backside on that, but not much better of a game from Goff. You know, yards wise, he more than doubled it, but still 3 interceptions, and they need to get the 1 touchdown.
Rushing Todd Gurley, decent game. 3.9 average,
Yeah.
28 attempts for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. CJ Prosas, 19 attempts, 57 yards, 3 average, and 1 fumble. Russell Wilson, looks like they tried to get him in there, but he fumbled twice.
Yeah, and I do want to say from Todd Gurley, like, the 28 attempts for 109 yards, okay, but I think it's better than you think, because that could be a case of starting off slow and sticking with the run and getting something out of it, or it could be the opposite. Maybe he started strong, didn't finish well, but either way, it looks like sticking with the run.
47.
Yeah.
As long as it was 47. So if it wasn't for that long run, I don't think you'd take 1 attempt and 47 yards off of it.
True, but if you think about it, it could have been he stuck with the run and then broke off a long one from the defense getting tired. But I don't know if that would work in Madden.
Little killer owner of the Seahawks goes, most of my offense problems are fixed as my lag is no longer there. Internet is fixed.
Well, that's definitely good to hear, because lagging, okay, let's be honest, you don't like when people use it as an excuse, but it definitely does change the way you play games.
Oh yeah, because your guys will go all over the place and split up 1 second, you'll freeze, and then 1 second later they're all in different positions.
Exactly. And when I lag, I almost just don't want to throw the ball at all, because 1, I'm not that good of a thrower anyways, but 2, not being that good of a thrower and playing in lag is just formula for a bad game.
I have not lagged in a very long time. But if I was to lag, I would stick to the ground game. If I go 3 and out and have to punt, I'd rather have to punt and throw a pick that could
Exactly.
potentially be a pick 6. But in the receiving game, Tavon Austin, one of the short receiver, but really speedy, 5 receptions, 107 yards, 21.4 average, and then Sammy Watkins, 3 receptions, 71 yards, 23.7 average, and a touchdown. And then really just
Not
nothing
much
going
after
for the
that,
Seahawks.
yeah.
Much going on.
Let's see here, going on to defense. 2 sacks from Aaron Donald, 1 from Melody Nada, and 1 from Howard Jones. So 4 sacks for the Rams and none for the Seahawks. That's a little surprising.
Which is actually, Howard Jones is a right end under Aaron Donald, so it looks like the backup came in on play and got the sack.
I remember last week he got a sack too. So either the Rams guy likes to sub his defensive line out, or he could be starting at like left end or something.
Or defensive tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
But wow.
B-Wag with an interception.
Yeah, that one's definitely a pick 6.
Tremaine Brock with 1. Nickel Coleman with 1. We got Josh Hawkins with 1. We got Tremaine Johnson with 1, and Mark Barron with 1.
Yeah, and I know we do have the highlights from the Bobby Wagner one. We got the highlights from the Josh Hawkins one. I don't think there's any other one on this.
With 1 forced fumble. Aaron Donald is such a beast. I would pass the finally release like 2 seconds later by owner and Bill Killer. Yeah, makes sense.
And you do see the 1 touchdown for Bobby Wagner. We will get that one out in the highlight video. We'll talk more about the highlight video later, but
and yeah. Nothing else in this portion. Nothing else. Tavon Austin, 1 punt return, 73 yards from touchdown. I think Tavon Austin, because he's on the Rams, is so underrated as a receiver. As you can see, he's got 4 years in the league, and he's not talked about because the Rams has just not been a good team.
Yeah, and you see only 1 punt return, and that 1 punt return was for 73 yards and a touchdown. I don't want to talk too much about my strategy here, but I don't think this is big to reveal. Like, when I punt the ball, I try and kick it out every time, just because so many people know to put speedy, shifty guys back there, and it's so hard sometimes to cover them, and sometimes you just can't control it. They just get lanes, and so I just don't take the chance. I try and punt it out every time.
Next game, actually a really close game, especially for Kingdom Boston. It's for him being so, like, he's been a very good user in the combo league, so to see him be this close to our new Steelers user, kind of surprising.
You know, okay, the Steelers guy is new, and I really haven't seen him play that much, so I can't say how good he is or not. But I do want to say the Steelers are still on the playoff bubble, so they're still, I mean, not out of it yet. With that loss, he might be out of it now. But before that, I think that's why this game was so close, is he knew he had the chance to make the playoffs, so he couldn't disappoint. He had to go out there and play his absolute best. And we don't know if this is his absolute best, but it does look pretty good holding the Patriots to only 20 points.
Patriots, though, 252 yards for their passing, which I'm not saying is the best or the worst, but you would think with, like, the pass rusher you have on the D-line, you have T.J. Watt, you have Bud Dupree, you have Shazier, the defensive backs and Gay, Cockrell. You have all the weapons, and it's so surprising to see this many passing yards. If I even have to, I can go in real life. Last season, 2016-2017 season, Cowboys versus the Steelers, we had a better run game than we did passing because they would shut down the passing so easily.
Yeah, a little underrated in the Steelers secondary, but neither quarterback. Well, Tom Brady, 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. Okay, that's not so good. But Ben Roethlisberger really not having that good of a game. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and only 97 yards. And he was only sacked once, so it doesn't look like the pressure was there. It looks like more like forcing throws.
Yeah. In the rushing game, really no rushing at all.
No,
like,
from either
it's
team.
sad to say that Tom Brady had the best average.
Yeah.
And a touchdown and a fumble.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell didn't do well.
2.5 average, 2.9 average.
Like, that's just...
Yeah. As I've said multiple times in this video, and as everyone knows, it's good to stick with the run and try and pound it, but I could just see why you would want to give up on the run if you're running it 20 times and only getting 50 yards out of that 20.
Best receiver, Rob Gronkowski.
Not a surprise.
Top. Touchdowns went to Brandon Cook and Jakeem Grant.
I like seeing speed guys with touchdowns like that sometimes. It was like, because you don't know, it could be, especially if it's not just a lob, like you could see it could be a screen and they'd get going, but yeah. You can hear.
Let's look at defensively.
Wow,
that's what I'm just trying to say. The Steelers do line.
Yeah, not as
pass rush, and it's so surprising that it looks like, I'm sorry to say, it looks like New England took the sacks over the throws, the forced throws.
Which can be smart. I would rather lose, 10 yards at the most in a sack than throw an interception, risk a pick six, because a lot of interceptions thrown in this game are pick sixes too, because like we said, returning is a lot easier in 18 than it was in 17.
Oh yeah. 2 by James Harrison, 1 by Stephon Tuitt, 1 by Malcolm Brown, 1 by...
Yeah, and going to interceptions, the first thing I saw was looking down at Shazier, 100-yard interception return. So that's why at the goal line, I don't like passing at all, because you're there about to score.
I take the 3 out. I'd rather take the 3 out on the 3 and out on the
exactly. I would rather play conservative and pound it all 3 downs and not get the touchdown and take the 3 than risk an interception. But yeah,
we have Donta Hightower, Devin McCourty, and Duran Harmon with 1. Ryan Shazier, Mike Mitchell with 1 themselves. Forced fumble is 2. Devin McCourty and James Harrison. James Harrison needs to retire.
I'm wondering if he will retire after 17 or after this Madden year, or the first season in this Madden.
The 2017-2018
Yeah.
season?
I'm also kind of curious about Tom Brady too, because we know he retired after 1 year in Madden 17.
Defensive touchdowns right there. Ryan Shazier with the only defensive touchdown.
Yeah, and we saw finally another fumble recovery, so maybe they're starting to fix it, but maybe not. I don't think we had any kick returns or punt returns. Yeah, no, neither of those in this game.
But good job to the Patriots. He's trying to keep him winning the division so he can make the playoffs. Good luck to both of y'all. Rest of the season and next season.
Yeah, that is a tight division, so it's going to be interesting to see who comes out in that one.
I guess you'll talk about the next game and I'll just answer questions.
Alright, looking into this one. This was a little bit of surprising to see, only holding Debo to 7 points. And we know Debo's the one that's good. He's better on defense than he is on offense, but he's still not a bad guy on offense. He loves to run the ball, and only 107 rush yards in this game. A little surprising to see, but
this game, when we started this league, and I picked the Titans, I didn't think of schedule or anything, but once we got into it, we started. I looked into my schedule, and this was the main game I was having a heart attack about once I got here. I will tell y'all, Madden 17, I never once beat Debo. I only played him like twice, but he beat me both times.
I don't think too many people beat Debo in Madden 17. A couple did, but...
So
Alright.
when this game came, I played very conservative. I would, as you
Yeah,
can see,
and
I'm a
we can see
passer.
that, yeah,
We've all
'cause-
seen that.
Yeah, only
I've always
126
passed the ball.
pass yards, 0 turnovers, so that's what you want. Alright, so going in, 146 yards by Mariota and 1 touchdown. That's a good game right there. 0 interceptions, like we said, and this game is big. 2 interceptions thrown by the rookie, C.J. Beathard. 175 yards and 42.8 passer rating. Sacked 3 times and 54% completion. Let's see, rushing. Joe Williams, even when he didn't have that good of a game, he still had 100 yards rushing. But it is a little surprising to not see more than 15 attempts, because if you got a 6.7 average, I would have carried it more than 15 times. A little surprising that Debo didn't, but 15 attempts, 82 yards, and a touchdown for DeMarco Murray. And then even Derrick Henry got in on some of that action. And Mariota with a couple scrambles. And then C.J. Beathard looks like fumbling the ball. I don't. Was that off a strip sack, or did he run and then fumble it?
I think he was trying to get out of the pocket to throw, and I think, or no, he was in the pocket at that time. And Brian Arakpo actually got in there, which Brian Arakpo I think had a game.
And we could see Mariota fumbled it too, but I think that one he was like right by the sideline and he just fumbled it out of bounds or something.
Oh yes, because it was I don't know what happened. It was one of the plays where I don't know if my controller messed up or something, but he ran to the sideline and I could not press a button, and poof, Debo got there fast. Debo got there fast.
And looking at the passing, there's really not much there for either side. It's a little surprising not to see Kenny Golladay up there. Debo loves throwing to Kenny Golladay.
And I love to throw to Delaney Walker, which, as you can see, he got the only touchdown.
Yep, he did get that.
He's old, but he is a very good person. He's really reliable, and as a tight end, I think he's kind of underrated.
Yeah. And then moving on to the defense, 2.5 sacks by the rookie Solomon Thomas. He's got him at D tackle. 2 sacks by Brian Arakpo, who you said did have the big game. Let's see if he had that. Yeah, he had that forced fumble. Oh, and Solomon Thomas had that forced fumble on Mariota too. But 1 sack for Navarro Bowman, 1 for Daquan Jones, and then a half a sack from DeForest Buckner, and he shared that with Solomon Thomas. Interceptions. Is that 1 interception for 111? Is that right?
I don't think so.
No, because the most you can get is 109.
The interception he had was like not even midfield, and he intercepted it, and I don't know if he got a pick 6 or not, but I know we weren't in the end zone when this pick happened.
So 111 interception yards, and it was not a touchdown. That's a little suspicious.
No, but apparently he was at the very back of the end zone.
Oh, and then look at this. 111 interception return yards, and his longest interception return was 0. So apparently 0 is greater than 111.
I don't know.
Alright, so the 2 forced fumbles we talked about, one Solomon Thomas and the other Brian Arakpo.
Yeah.
And then I don't think there were any defensive touchdowns in this one. No safeties either. No kick returns or punt returns for touchdowns. But,
I will say this, I have to give a big shout out to Debo. He might have lost, but he's stuck in the game. And to keep me down, to make it where I don't pass the ball, because I'll tell you, I was worried. I did not want to throw interceptions during this game. So as you can see, I was pounding it off more than I ever did. But I have to give a shout out to him, and he did a great job during this game. 2 shank kicks though does hurt. The kicks were way off, and that hurt him. But good game, Devo. Hopefully you're still in playoffs, which I know you are.
Alright, moving on to our last game, which reminds me I forgot to advance when this was done, but oh well. Oh, wow, so a little revenge it looks like in this one. 51-20, Falcons over the Bucks. So, yeah, I remember last time they played, the Bucks won this one.
Oh.
Wow. 521 yards versus 197 yards.
0 turnovers.
Yep, 0.
Turnovers. So I guess this was the week for no turnovers. Three games had no turnovers.
Exactly, yeah.
But, Lord, he had no mercy. I guess he really wanted the revenge from the first game. This was a no mercy game.
Yeah, and 293 yards passing for Matt Ryan and 2 interceptions. I'll take that any day of the week. He was sacked 3 times, but nothing compared to 6 times by Jameis Winston and 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 193 yards for him. And rushing
ball.
wow, Tevin Coleman. I don't.
2 weeks in a row.
I'm wondering if he's probably starting for Atlanta then. But a 10-yard per carry average, 4 touchdowns.
And Keith Marshall just nothing from the rushing on the other side.
No, not at all.
Receiving. Of course,
Julio Jones, yep. 6 receptions too, so 2 touchdowns. Keith Marshall making it up though in the air game. 3 receptions for 93 yards and a touchdown, and then 2 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown by Mike Evans.
And then just nothing else. Chris Godwin not even really getting in the game.
No.
2 receptions, 40 yards. That was about it for him. Defensively. Backs. 2 by rookie Riley out of LSU. 1.5 by Grady Jarrett. 1 by Isa Abdul Hudas. 1 by Karist McKinley. Rookie out of UCLA. Vic Beasley was 1. Chris Baker was 1. And 1 by Noah Smith and half by Dontari Pope.
Yeah, that's
a lot of rookies. Rookies this year showed up.
Yeah, a lot of young people getting in there. And interceptions. 2 by Robert Alford, only for 5 yards, and then 1 by Keanu Neal.
4 fumbles, 1 by Perry Riley Jr.
Was there a recovery in this one? No, it does not look like it. Every time I go to look at fumble recoveries, I don't even look at the fumble recovery stats. I just go to the fumble return yard stat.
Yeah. Kick return though, Demir Bird, 4 kick returns, 178 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
As long as it was a 96-yard run.
And as we were saying earlier with punts, how I just like to kick it out of bounds. You can't do that with kickoffs. You got to kick it to them. It's hard. Unless you just want to squib it every time, but that gives them good field position.
And I will say, it's easier on a punt return to return a touchdown than it is a kickoff.
That's true.
You get very, very lucky on holds.
Alright, well.
But good job.
Good one in that one. Alright, so I'm gonna, before we get into our game of the week, I'm gonna run in advance real quick, just in case if there is anyone waiting to play, you guys can play. Let me just make sure I got injuries off here. Injuries off, and I know I have the forces all correct. I went in earlier and double checked those. Force advance, there we go.
And once he gets back in, I will tell y'all the game of the week, because it is it's a very big game too.
Injuries are back on, and you guys can go now. I don't think there's anyone waiting to play, or else I probably would have got blown up asking for advance.
Okay.
But
the game
yeah,
of the week for week 16. Remember,
Get
guys,
back
there's only 2 weeks left. 16, 17. and it's a big game. It's the Bills at the Patriots.
Yeah,
The
a
reason why
big
is because
game for
Bills is,
sure.
the Patriots aren't very high. Neither are the Jets, and neither are the Bills. They're all pretty much right there together.
I think
Maybe one game behind.
I think the Bills is one game behind the Patriots, and I think the Jets and the Bills are tied right now, record-wise.
Yeah.
But Bills would have that tiebreaker over the Jets, I know. But
This is a big game for both.
yeah,
Because if it's 1-1 split and they tie at the end,
it'd be interesting
Then it
to
would
look at
go-
tiebreakers.
oh yes, there's so many tiebreakers. But
Yeah,
we're not going into tiebreakers. We're going into what side of the ball. We all know the Bills have lost Sammy Watkins, big receiver.
but with the way that he's running the ball with LaShawn McCoy, it's
Shady.
losing Sammy Watkins hasn't really hurt much.
But we're going to go off of your predictions. Which side of the ball, or which position on one side of the ball is going to make a difference?
And we just said Shady McCoy, he's going to be a big part of this game, and I don't know if you guys know this in this league, but BG Avedon and King of Boston go way back, so they both know each other really well. So even though this is Bills Patriots in their divisional game, this is like even more of a divisional game based off their history of how well they know each other. So this game I can really see. I think it's gonna go down to the wire, and I think that the Bills are gonna pull this one out.
But which side of the ball? Because in my mind, if it's a running game, if we're worried about the running game, that means it's the Patriots front seven that has to put in
Yeah,
work.
but
the Patriots like to throw, so it'd be the Bills secondary.
and the Bills secondary is, I mean, not the greatest, but also they're a little underrated too. But I honestly think that with as well as BG Avedon knows King of Boston, that this will definitely be a close game, like I said.
I'm thinking so too, and you said the Bills are coming out on top. I like to go into mine. So we all know Avedon has loved to run the ball since 17. Yeah, that's his game, is running the ball, and he always figures out a way to do it. So you got Shady McCoy. But
And
the
it
Patriots
also
this season has not had a running game at all. There's never been a running game. It's always a passing.
yeah, exactly. But
So
what were
it's
you
going to be an offensive game. We all know it's going to be an offensive game. It's can the Patriots shut down the run, and can the Bills shut down the pass?
Yeah, and I gotta say, honestly, I think that Bills secondary is going to step up and stop the pass in this game. Patriots, if he wants to win this, he's gonna have to figure out a way to be balanced on offense. He's gonna have to surprise run too. So, honestly, and
I don't know. I just don't know who to pick. I could always just do the same thing, choose against you. I could go with you. And this game is really hard, but I kind of have to say the Patriots, just because I have to say the Bills secondary. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. But with so many threats for Tom Brady, even if he has a bad game, he's got Rob Gronkowski, he's got Brandon Cooks, he's got all these threats. Even if some of those threats are slower.
yeah, I see what you're saying in this one. I'm sticking with the Bills.
Alright, Bills, Patriots. So it's going to be an offensive and defense. It's going to be the whole team trying to work together. Because that defense for the Patriots got to stop the run. Secondary for the Bills got to stop the pass. And both are going to try to score as much as possible. And probably you're going to stick with what they know. Because we've seen what happens with it earlier in the season. Avedon tries to throw the ball. It messes him up and he loses. Patriots tries to run, it gets shut down. So we'll see what happens. But of course, looks like we're already on
I haven't gone there yet. I'm still letting you talk. Haven't gone to 15 yet. But
let's go. And
yeah,
I see this.
well, a little surprised up there. I'm a little surprised to see Devon House up there, but I'm glad he's getting back into it with the Packers.
Terrence West deserved that. Had a really good game. Von Miller, Forrest Wing gets Von Miller Player of the Week.
Yeah.
13 tackles.
Gotta love it.
Everybody deserves to be up there. Tevin Coleman, Terrence West.
Yeah, and
Von Miller. House.
that was a really good performance by Tevin Coleman too, going up against the Bucks. Blake Deshaun usually is able to limit stuff defensively, but it looks like he wasn't able to do that this week.
I'm thinking. Ooh. Maybe that's what might have hurt an injuries was in the Buccaneers game. If you go to the Buccaneers for injuries, left guard, 76 overall, Evan Smith out for 2 weeks on a shoulder tear. It's probably longer.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Speaking of
on the O-line.
yeah, definitely. So speaking of injuries here, what we said earlier about the Jets, we do want to go check that out. No, so he was not injured, just was not in the pass game at all.
Oh, the Garrett Blunt out, knee cartilage tear for 4 weeks. Maybe that's why there was no rush game for the Eagles either.
Yeah.
Ooh, Giants, Damon Harrison, 89 overall, 2 weeks. I mean, this is the Lions, TJ Logan's out, Aaron Jones is out for the Packers. There hasn't been a lot of injuries, but at the same time, the injuries that hurt the most.
Yeah. And I did want to look at the AFC East standings real quick before we started going in the outro. But Patriots are in the lead by a game. Bills 1 game back at 9-5, and Jets 2 games back at 8-6. So Jets still not out of it yet. It would take the Bills winning this game and losing next week, and the Patriots losing the next 2 weeks. But so yeah, this is still any of those 3 teams' divisions, but it would be really big if the Bills were able to beat the Patriots this week. They would have a tie for first.
Go to the AFC North, because that AFC North is what was really big for the Browns and Ravens.
We really thought, I don't know about you, but I kind of thought that Browns had this division locked down, honestly.
But the Ravens stepped it up. The Ravens came in very, very hard, and it's only a game back, meaning in 2 weeks left, the Ravens could take over.
Yeah.
Will it happen? Maybe, maybe not, but it's still a very big chance of happening.
Yeah. And I don't really want to get too in depth with the standings, but let's go to conference and just see what things are looking at here. We'll start with the AFC. And as you see, Broncos, Chiefs, Titans, all 3 teams have berths. Titans winning the division, and Broncos, Chiefs just have wild card spots. But Browns still there, Patriots there, Ravens there. So Browns, that would be another division. Patriots would be a division, and Ravens would be a wild card. See here, let's see.
It's close. The AFC this year, very close.
Yeah, and then Jets and Steelers are on the edge, out looking in, but still can get in.
In the NFC, kind of already ruled who wins, who's going for the first 4 spots. You have the Falcons, the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Bucks.
Yeah.
Well, the Bucks is It's both wild cards for the Bucks and Falcons, and probably the Lions. Well, no, the Packers are only a game behind the Lions to finish that division, too.
Yeah, that division can go either way, and I think they still have to play each other again.
Oh yeah.
So let's see.
But
there.
and then Giants and Seahawks, Panthers and Cardinals all at the same record.
Yeah.
Not completely out, but kind of on the sliver of last hope.
Yeah. Alright, so before we end the video, we did want to talk about our plans for the plays of the week. So unfortunately we didn't get the results back that we really wanted to. We did get I think 7 plays this week, which, I mean, we're almost there, but we would like to be getting, honestly, at least like 15 to 20, just so we can rule out the plays that like aren't looking as good as the other ones. But so what we decided to do for that, or we haven't fully decided yet, but what we're like leaning on doing is
This season.
yeah,
This season.
we're gonna
Maybe.
do a play, like top 10 plays of the year, since we kind of started this late. So we'll collect everything for the remaining of the year. Everybody still send your videos. We'll do a top 10 of the season.
If you have any old
Yes.
ones, or you go back to your old games that you recorded and stuff, and you find a play that could, make sure, I'm sorry to say, please make sure it's highlight worthy. Don't make it like you're on the 1 yard line on your opponent and you fullback dive. Don't
Yeah, don't
have
do
it
those.
something that really, like, think of this season, think of Cole Beasley's catch. Think of that. Really highlight worthy. Even Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
said it was a great catch.
Well,
Something
I mean,
that's-
it
something
doesn't
that's
have to.
pops.
It doesn't have to be too crazy though, because we hardly would get any
No.
videos. But like,
no, not crazy, but don't make it something
Yeah.
that's like anybody could pull off.
but
Make
like
sure
a
it's
good
something that's just like, whoa.
a good example was would be the pick 6 that Bobby Wagner got from the 1 yard line. That's even. I mean, that return wasn't too hard of a return, but it was still a 100-yard interception return. So
Yeah, and he was at the 1 yard, which all the players are crammed right there.
yeah.
Boom. Because even if we go back into what, like, the Seahawks versus the Patriots Super Bowl, the Patriots got right in it, like the pick, but didn't get anywhere out of it.
Yeah.
He just, as soon as he got it, he was down. So, it doesn't have to be too flashy. If it's big and like crazy, send it. If
Yeah.
it's not so big, but it's still really cool, send it. Don't, just no, like, regular plays like, oh, you have a post across the middle and you threw it and he caught it.
Yeah. So that's what we want to do for this year, but what we really want to do next season is go to what we said we were going to do and do a top 10 plays of the week. Hopefully by that time everyone gets the memo. You guys catch on that we're really pushing hard for this and actually send videos.
I will give y'all another recommendation for this. It does not have to be from this league. But
Well,
as long as it is, I think it's kind of hard to, because it's hard to do it when
But
it's just
then-
1 minute.
yeah, but then it wouldn't feel like about Combo League. Like I would really like for them to be from Combo League, just because. I mean, maybe if we could do separate videos on just really nice plays, but I would like them to be from Combo League because it's Combo League top 10 plays of the week, or maybe we could do, if you guys can't send enough in 1 week, maybe we'll do top 10 plays every 4 weeks, like when we release the power rankings. We can do based on how many we get. So
Okay. Well, another thing, guys, if you have not, follow the website. Anybody and everybody, if y'all want to participate, if y'all come in, watch these live streams, participate. If you don't come in if you aren't with us on the live streams and you want to say something, about a game, like the game of the week, Bills and Patriots, give your own predictions. Tell us why. Who wins and why. We want y'all to be a part of this. That's what this is about. We want y'all to be a part of it. Give y'all's weird comments to us. When this video goes up, you watch it afterwards, boom. Just be a part of this. The website is still up. It does get updated regularly. We have our Twitter at Madden_podcast. It should say ANL Live on it. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give y'all a little future thing. Is I'm gonna try to get things out to y'all, and not always gonna be videos, but there's things I want to do for y'all as subscribers. And it's gonna take a little bit longer. And as always, we're on the hunt for 100 subscribers. We have till the end of this year, the very end, 31st at 11:59. That's how long we have to get 100. So if y'all want, help us out. Tell your friends. Tell one friend. Have that friend tell one friend, and so on. Or post it on y'all's Facebook, your Snapchat, your Twitter, your Instagram. We want to be out there. We want people to come. We want people to see y'all and what y'all do during y'all's games. But as always, I'm your host Avengers. Alongside us is our host Nima.
And yep, second week back. It's great doing these podcasts again. I really shouldn't have left, but
yeah, it's good to have you back. You seem more enthusiastic though from the break you had. You seem more enthusiastic right now. But as always, guys, thank y'all for being here. See y'all next time. Peace out, Live Squad.